So jumping in here, we are just kind of reviewing where we left off with this, and then we could jump over to our scene, which is collection 1, and then enable collection 2, which enables us to kind of look at this thing in its entirety, and we could just get back to work. So the next thing from here is to go ahead and put some arms. So I'm just going to select this part, press Alt W, jump over to Boxcutter, and we're just going to take a moment and put an underscore on subdivision, just because I don't want it to move. Like, I'm just starting off with a join, but I do want to jump that up to maybe something like 32, but you know, I do want something probably lower than that, so let's actually lower that to something like 24, and we'll just start from there. Also, let me also begin playing music. Sorry about that. Always got to play music. And as my woman would say, wear your glasses. So I'm wearing my glasses. It's like so hard to actually see things that isn't in Blender now, which is its own form of tragedy. So we're going to set origin. I'm going to set the origin there, and that means I can then scale this piece in, and we're just going to get in here and just have some fun. I mean, the goal isn't for me to just narrate all day, but I do want to clear those sharps, because what happened there? Another oversight that will require some correction. Right now I'm giving a Boxcutter a really stern look, because there's just so much that has to go with it. So, you know, maybe something like that will do. And then you know, when times are vague, then you just got to make it up. So I guess now that we are further than the leg, I could bring the concept into play. But the goal was originally to just kind of freestyle it, just based off of a concept, and just keep going. But I got hooked on the first page of one particular art book, which is crazy. I'm supposed to go over a whole art book, but instead I'm hooked on the first page. You know, what movie is that, right? You know, that movie is Elysium. You know, I'm obsessed with these movies. You could say, oh, I hated liberal garbage or whatever, and that is nonsense to say. I'm saying on a art and design level, masterpieces. But sometimes I'll be talking to someone about movies, and they will come out with the most culture war based arguments. And I'm like, so that's why you did not watch the new Alien movie? This is a tragedy to hear. This makes me not want to be on your side. So, you know, get out there and enjoy media. You know, you only live once, right? So, when I was watching the latest Aliens movie, my thought was, wow, he sure is doing all the stuff that he wanted to do from Raised by Wolves, and they canceled the show. And as a result, he's now doing it here. And that is completely understandable. That's the wrath of an old man, like Ridley Scott. He's going to execute those weird ideas. You know, just keep handing him properties in media. He's just going to get weirder and weirder. He's going to be like, you know what? I'm just going to turn everything that you knew on its head as far as tropes are concerned. I don't know. That's how it felt just watching the latest stuff. It just all was so marvelous. So let's mirror this down below. We'll go ahead and union this, and I'm having to really freestyle a part here. And you know, the thing is I always stop to just solve. I'm like a hyper solver now. I gotta stop that. And the good thing about having this on the other side is that I can work on this side and not have to think about it. In fact, we can move this to a new thing, and we'll call this sidearm. This isn't even actually the arm. This is the like little arm, just like my strong hand sort of thing. So where to go from here? Still just brainstorming and freely thinking, which is its own exercise. I wonder what I even have open in my Alt tab. Not that it would be something inappropriate, just that I'm always between so many directories on the computer. I'm as multifaceted with directories as I am with ideas. So let's S Shift and Y to scale this out. And It's not that I hate not talking about hotkeys. It's just, how much can you say about keys? Until they finally, you start realizing you sound like you're talking about the enemy. So here I'm going to choose convex hull, but I'm going to press W, so that way I only do the non-modified version. One of my favorite features of this thing. And then we'll scale this in. And I see these parts so much in media, and when I do, I just point and I'm like, look, there it is. There it is. It validates me. So we're going to clear the sharps, but we're not going to remove the modifiers in the F9. And let's just place that below, and maybe something like that, and let's duplicate it over because we are hacks, alright? And like Naruto would say, don't you forget it. So we are going to set origin from here, and then I'm going to rotate the view while still holding left mouse button. I mean, that is something that I need to think about dealing with. So I want to press R so that we set the location. So now we just only set the location, not the rotation, meaning that we can just rotate that over and use this as some sort of extensor. So I don't know, I'm no robotics expert, but if robotics are going to take over the world, then we probably need to improve our robot design, right? We could run away, we could wait to be replaced by robots. I mean, we can't even become janitors and restroom cleaners now because robots are going to be superior than us at even these tasks. So, if I was a migrant worker, I would think to myself, I'm safe for now. But for how long? Until they start making stuff to take those jobs. But that's like the world that we're running towards. Like, when we're getting mad about not getting jobs, it's a strange world that we live in. And, I hate to get all preachy and start talking about world events, but, I'm all old now. So I'm all impacted by world events. Look at this, the clipping. Which one of these is causing such a merger? That is our mirror, and then if we mirror it below, we get that. So let us turn, it's the bisect distance. I've never run into the bisect distance going mad like this. Questions about scale become a thing, but we will come back to that. But we are just kind of freestyling to create this fake mobility that has to be here, because I'm telling you, you don't come to me for engineering advice. You should go to an engineer for that. I'm just trying to figure out how to survive the day and how to live into tomorrow, and not into infamy. Just as a regular guy. So we're modeling, we're modeling, we're loving life. We're cutting our favorite shapes. We're working in the sidearm collection. There's no issue. All is right with the world. All is right at this time. The first thing I do when I wake up is I check in on one of my correspondents who's living in the Ukraine, just to make sure that, Putin didn't blow his house down overnight. Dangerous world we live in. And, you try to do some 2D cutting, and here's an example where it just doesn't work right. So I'm going to force it to work. I'm going to just change this last one to be exact, and for some reason that will work. So let's just jump back over to collection 1 plus collection 2. And what else do I want to do? Well, what I want to try to do is do a union on this. Oh my god, that will never work. But it should work that way. Instead, what I have to do is switch over to box, and we'll just draw a box, right? Boom. And because it's a plane, we might as well just bring this up, and I'm just trying to do more. I'm trying to do more. You know, when a man knows, he has to solve. He models differently. You know, when there's a meme where people are using booleans, not having to think about what they're going to do with it afterwards. The same thing is for modeling, like for boolean modeling. So let's Alt 4 jump over to nSolve, where I can use their version of dissolve, where I can press D, go into panel, and just make alt not dissolve verts. Just a beauty. Pound dissolve, brought to you by nSolve. You know, right now the aesthetic of this tool is still very early, still heavily debated. You know, as time goes on, I've realized that, you know, ideas are harder and harder to convey strongly. You know, and an idea is so dangerous when it's stifled, because, you know, your entire livelihood is attached to an idea. And the difference between you telling people, yo, I once had this crazy idea that it would have been crazy if I would have pulled it off, and the reality of actually doing such a thing is just immense. And, you know, I don't want to be that last person. So, you know, I've committed myself to being more diligent with being proactive with my goals, to follow up with my goals, to find out why goals aren't getting executed, and to more diligently pursue them to become a nuisance in the pursuit of my goals, and to achieve them no matter what. I mean, of course, some limitations may apply. Can't be making deals with the devil, you know, but other than that, whatever it takes. So I also have like additional imagery up just to kind of inspire. Actually, this part is so insignificant, I need to calm down. Like I for reals need to calm down, because what am I doing here? I'm about to go nuts in this like unimportant area, and we don't want to do that. So let's see, can we add some thickness to this, put some cheese on that Mac? Alright, and if we do that, we start to hide the detail of the cylinders here, which is something we want to avoid doing. So I do want to duplicate this and just bring this out, remove the bevel, and just maybe experiment with just punching inwards and just making sure that this thing is fully able to be cut through, which requires that I grab this element and move it up. Like I said, I'm still just freestyling, you know, let the man cook. Just playing, I'm the man, don't let me cook. You know, give me the business in the comments. I actually uploaded a video earlier about my PC, and I was like, oh man, I think people might get the wrong impression from this, but I have to stick with my goals. I have to stick with my goals, because of course I'm going to be inundated with everything talking me out of it. Always, you know, it is the rain, and the rain is more hardcore every year. And this is now item number 1. This is item number 2. So now I press 1, I have that. I press 2, I have that. Just got to get things sane for my simple brain. All right. So now that we have things looking like this, that means that now I can give it a little solidification, but I actually want to solidify it one way. So let's go to that solidify, and let's play with the offset, maybe push it this way. And you know, this isn't going to be a fun, actually that looks cooler than I'm just freestyling here. Alright, and I was about to put a little accent on the side, right? Like, you know, if this was like going to be exposed, then I would have something like that happening, but we do want to get our thickness back. So let's work on our offset just to make sure that we keep that. And so I'm just going to switch this over to join, meaning that now this is an additive part, and we'll do something like that. And we can do something over in this area as well. just, gotta have a little fun with the box cutter. I was walking past my woman earlier, and she was freaking watching a show without me. I stopped shocked. I thought, what the heck? What is this? Are you breaking up with me? Like, why are you doing this? Why are you watching shows without me? Alas, I'm in here working. She's still watching shows without me. It is cruel, but what can you do? You just drift out to some fine tunes, but just like that, we have made the part. I mean, I'm just going nuts here. I'm just stalling for real. It's like QOT, cube, and we place it to the left. Really, I want an Alt Gizmo control for that. So similar to everything else that we've had, we need an Alt Gizmo control. But I think the issue with that is that if we did that, it would mess up when it comes to things being oriented and local. Local and world orientations and things like that always become like difficult. So let's see. We got something like that so far, and what we want to do is on this collection, let's just bring in an instance of let's go here, and in the scene of not assembly, where's this thing located? This thing is alone by itself in the scene. So we should actually send this and its components to its own collection, because we will need to revisit it, and we'll just call this mid chassis. I must always remind folks that I am no master. That's why I call myself MX2. I'm just a guy trying to get better. Just a guy practicing. Always just a guy trying to get better. I think I've said that forever. Just gotta practice it. But practice time's over. It's showtime now, baby. We gotta put on a show, because times are changing. The world's falling apart. So let's go back to this one. And in this collection, we want, what is this? What is this hidden object? We'll go ahead and send that to junk, just because we don't need it. So always have junk of just things that's live, because I think I'm going to revisit it. Spoiler alert, never going to revisit it. Might revisit it. And then we got all these camera empties, so we can put those in their own collection, but we're just doing a little housekeeping. So in this collection, we're going to insert mid chassis. Okay, and for some reason they weren't showing, but I get the idea now. We got to place it in the right location. So that is mid chassis, and then we want to place sidearm, and we'll just place it there, and we're just going to Control M X to mirror that to the other side. So now whenever we have collection 1 enabled, we can work, but when we have collection 2 enabled, it shows what happened. So it's like a type of mirroring, but if we need everything showing, we can also enable collection 3, and then we have our leg back in the way. So we're just on our way to create a weapon to surpass Metal Gear, and our selection's relatively simple. I mean, I haven't even reached for the space mouse yet, because I haven't earned it, the dopamine of it. And also we see as we add more that we gotta get more physical, and I almost want to have some sort of like gear sticking out to force like turning to happen, but don't look at it too hard. It'll show how much of an idiot I am. So let's see, I'm going to just take this, drag this down, and you know what? Let me take a moment, pause, and bring in a reference image, so that way we are all on the same page for this, and going forward, we'll now follow the actual ref kind of close. I was kind of taking artistic liberties, so you'll have to excuse me, but we'll just kind of roughly stick to it, because I saw a ton of parts of beauty that was worth examination. So let's take a pause, and we'll revisit this. So we are back. So the question is, how do we handle this? Do we handle this pure ref style, or do we handle this Blender style as far as references go? The Blender style is where we split the view and we turn one of the views into an image editor, and then we just drag the images over. So let me locate the image for that. We'll just make them bigger. Probably just one image will do. I mean, I am literally referencing this single page. Let's drag and drop. And for some reason, Blender did not want to open this image. It could be that I'm using a particular build of Blender or something where this images aren't, that image is working. You know, maybe it's because of my naming. I'm just going to put random letters in the name and then drag and drop it on the Blender. And look, now it opens. So I think the photo was named something based off of references. But anyways, now you can see that the concept is a blurry image. So I'm telling you, my life is deciphering undecipherable images, like looking at images that I can't even read and trying to figure out what the heck they're trying to say. It's like my hobby. So I mean, even if 3D went away, I'm still going to be trying to figure out these dang images. So, you know, we look in the back here, and this is like fill in the blank is what I see there. But what is that? You know, what is that? I'm just going to just cut holes and let God sort it out. We'll mirror that and let's cut inward and stop, pause it. Let's add a loop cut. Need to narrate this? No. Back to blathering about things that don't matter. So I've really kind of paused and looked at the landscape of both the internet and just the world in general. And, you know, I feel like there's going to come a time in which content that was human made will be missed. And I'm a human who makes content. And that's currently my motivation for making content, you know, real flimsy, right? You know, if I was a robot in Detroit become human, I would just malfunction so quickly. But, you know, my motivations for 3D remain the same, you know, is to make cool stuff. And more services will keep coming out that can make cool stuff and make like more and more of the human aspect redundant. But, you know, we got to just continue to fight it and continue on in this field, because I mean, every drought always is followed up by some sort of research. I mean, look, what is this part for real? So let's QOT and we'll just place it back. I need a key that fully resets the shape so I don't have to place it back like I just did. I mean, I'm just looking at it and just talking and just moving shapes and just thinking, right? And so here I'm going to do a union, and of course that's not a union. We are going to union, but we're going to make it exact because you know, when it comes to exact in me, I will use exact all the time, but I will use it for just a moment. You know, it's never permanent. Like if I walk away from this mesh leaving exact alive, sorry, didn't mean to do that, but if I walk away from this mesh leaving exact alive, it will hurt me. Even when I'm working on a mesh, 10 meshes later, exact will still be punching me in the face because I chose to use it a long time ago. And, you know, that's a terrible fate to have happen to you when you're dealing with a mesh. I'm going to place the mirror, add a new mirror, and then mirror it over just in case I was having some sort of bisect weirdness happen there. And, you know, we're still brainstorming as to what this hypothetical area even is. And I'm sure whatever I do, I'm incorrect. That is life. And let's see, let's place it here. What does that look like? Just making sure. We could also shift scroll, you know, so there's never a need for me to have to go over and grab the modifier. Let's Alt E just to hit it with an exact. And it looks like with exact, it was able to go through. So it looks like there's probably already some manifold mesh issues happening somewhere that we just haven't noticed. That, I mean, what is this part for real? It's like, I don't know. I don't know. But, you know, in my brain, I'm being told someone was paid to do that for a movie. And, hey, that part didn't even make it to the movie. So that means that either someone couldn't do it, someone didn't do it, or they didn't hire someone to do it, or maybe the director didn't want it, or whatever the case might have been. But in whatever case, that did not make it into the movie. Probably because you weren't involved. So, get it together. Get it together. Because I guarantee you, you know, the moment you start running from your dreams, you'll start seeing other people suddenly start to accomplish theirs. Whenever people started finding success in oil after I had left, I didn't even want to hear about it. It's like, of course they did. Licked the boot long enough, I'll reward you. But, you know, just hanging in there. Their loyalty was rewarded. But also, we gotta be, you know, mobile enough to see the writing on the wall. You know? So, there's no denying that technology is definitely getting to a level where we can't really compete with it. We're gonna be breaking looms before long. Just really just crushing those looms. Like a farmer's rebellion. So I'm just tripping that this is not letting me pebble very far. And I mean, now it is, but at what cost? At the cost of this. So, you know, I want to bring this down and merge it with this other area, like so. So let's attempt that. I thought I could just bring it down and exclude the X. Let's Shift X, exclude. And good on you, Blender. Allowing me to exclude during a translation. Probably been there a million years. One of the first times I've come across it. So it looks like my keystroke display also died. So let's bring that up once again. You know, we rock the keystroke display until the keys fall off, but it is definitely dying. I think it has a 2-year license and it is expired because I've used this computer for like a decade, as my previous video indicated. So for this area, let's hit it with a hard bevel. And hard bevel is going to make a fool out of me until I adjust its algorithm. And this is where some post edits would be recommended. So a common thing I'm asked all the time is, what work is there to do? And, you know, every time I bring up a revisit, it is infuriating to folks. But I will revisit things endlessly until it's right. In fact, I always joke that I'll die at my PC, you know, probably eating chips or something, but hey, if I'm eating chips, I lived a good life, alright? So, we're only solving enough just enough solving, you know. If we're looking at it and I mean, what is this part? I don't even that's why I'm going to place a loop here, maybe bring it down to just this last piece, and you know, and for this whole area right here, I'm going to QOT, bring up a Q, press W, just so we get just this modified region. And with this shape, I'm just going to work it into something that makes this more interesting, I guess. That's it. Because, you know, my idea is that I want to take these parts and repurpose them later endlessly. And I want to do this with a myriad of assets. In fact, I only got hung up on this one just because I saw it and it was just, you know, sometimes you see an asset too good to refuse. That's what happened. You know, that's probably going to happen to me endlessly. I'm just going to keep looking at things that's just going to be too good to ignore. This thing ain't merging either way. And that's because somewhere there's a hole from us using exact without knowing and being fully attentive. So here we broke the manifold rule. So we merge at last. And now Boolean is connecting. So you have to be mindful of what's going on when it comes to Booleans and bevels in Blender now. Like, it's crazy. I feel like I've become a Boolean whisperer because I have to literally whisper to get them to behave right at times, but I get the result in the end. And I guess that is a sign to the greatness that is Blender. You know, if you're able to win in the end, then hey, that's a battle worth fighting. But you know, if you're walking away a complete loser, then that's another thing. But you know, I probably will do a series later, you know, some sort of Boolean boot camp or something where we just go in and we talk about the state of Blender and Booleans as of this moment. You know, maybe we'll wait till they hit 5.0 or something, I don't know. Wait for a milestone release. So let's Alt X, it's a bisected modifier, and you know, something like that definitely works, except I do want to put more roundies in it, you know, just me having fun. So for this one, I'm just going to bring up a straight line with knife, and we'll bevel this into being a light roundy. And we could also do the same up top, just in case we want to open it with a screwdriver. That's always what I'm thinking when I'm doing this. I'm like, I want to open it with a screwdriver, just really pry it in there, like right to repair. Do I care about right to repair with my modeling? You know, like what if I was the type of modeler who modeled stuff that you couldn't repair, like I didn't put screws, you know, because I didn't care, like I had planned obsolescence built into my models. I was a corrupt modeler. I jest, of course, but you know, what do you think about whenever you're modeling? Let's undo that. Let's put an underscore here. I'm going to maybe make a rule where when you add a bisect mod, it puts it in with an underscore, because obviously the next thing you would want to do after that would not want to be cut. So let's just bring this in. Oh, view is still enabled. My apologies. I'm being slow today. And something like that. All right, and we probably want to repeat that somewhere else. So, you know, I haven't talked about repeat in years. There's a repeat for you, kiddos. First repeat of 2025. Brought to you by Boxcutter. Right here. Repeat. Brought to you by Boxcutter. All right. My origin could be in a better place if I set it to this, which this is initial center instead of bounding box center. So now I have to go in here and set origin here, and now I can scale it down and it doesn't terminate on the inside. So we're just gonna place it here, and you know, let's become a cliche, guys. 3 now. All right, so that is the part that I'm looking at here. So let's move on to the next part. And my goal is to kind of block it in. So I did not solve, all right? I did not hit her mark. I did not solve her, all right? I didn't. That was not a solving. That was me just making it through a Monday. And my watch is telling me it's Thursday. Wow, I need to turn off Do Not Disturb. All right. So this next part, I mean, what are these parts? Like, I mean, I can even say that I'm adhering to the reference. Like, I'm just chilling, guys. Like, we're just vibing here. I'm telling you, it might turn into something more live just because I could see it. I could see this working. You know, the quest, the battle, the fight, you know. I may be honest, I literally have not worked out this year. I've just been lazy, like good for nothing. I haven't worked out since this year began. It's just been cold outside. I'm just letting that be my excuse. I gotta get over it. Like, I was running and, you know, my leg gave me a pain that just showed me that, hey, that's gonna die. You need to see a ripper doc. So we are going to just bisect mod this, and I mean, I don't know what this part is. Just do not know. You know, concept artists, they just do, you know, wild women do, and they don't regret it. You know, concept artists do. If you're an American Dad, you get it. You know, concept artists do, and they don't regret it. Hey, you almost got me singing in this song, which, you know, would be able to be added to the montage of times that I accidentally burst into song. Hey, I haven't had my less Cerebless moment where I just become a musical and I just start singing everything, right? But I've mentioned it many times where I've tried to basically get musicians to sing about Blender and music, and you know, the ones that didn't want to fight me stopped sending me Christmas cards, right? Like, they really rejected the idea. So, what can you do? Let's slide this up, and I'm going to hold Alt and then Shift. So Alt to put it on this hypothetical realm, and Shift to just keep it smooth. And I don't know what I'm looking at there. Like, what is that? I'm wearing my glasses too, so it's even more depressing when I have to say, what is that, like an old man. But every year that I'm a modeler, it costs a little bit more of my vision. So, you know, make sure you have a good monitor. Make sure you have your favorite keyboard, which is just a regular keyboard. You know, what kind of keyboard do you need? You need a keyboard with air holes in it. So we are just doodling. And, you know, that little hotline allows me to basically bevel this upstairs. So maybe 3 segments. You know, the question you're asking yourself is, how many segments do you want to solve? Also, offset. Next update, I guarantee you, maybe next update definitely is going to have alt scroll on a toggle. I've been tormented by it as a decision. Sometimes that happens where basically the team will just ignore my pleas, leave me with a option that I requested from the get-go, just so I can truly taste the monkey's paw. And if there's one thing you know about monkeys is, you know, they don't wash their paws because they're monkeys. Why would you wash your paws? You're a monkey. So, you know, when you have to taste that monkey paw of a bad decision, like having alt scroll without a toggle, they're just going to make me beg. But I jest, of course. I jest. It's just a little Just a little nSolve humor. I mean, when I look at this shape, I'm like, do I see rounding? Is that rounding? You know, get an Angry Joe voice, right? Is that rounding? Are you selling me blue? Maybe something like that. And from here, let's bring this line out. And for this area, what do we want to do? Well, now I guess we'll round it. You know, just it's such a basic shape, but it's like an unclear shape, right? So, you know, here, like, what do we do with that? You know, I'm just going to grab these all the way down, maybe bevel that, and then, you know, maybe pop it with the inset. You know, it's not the most responsible decision, but, and you know what's really not responsible is letting booleans get before the mirror. So once again, we let bisect get in the way, which takes my hand off of the intended button and puts it on a different button. That's how I know something needs to be done. So let's bring out ngon. And let's change it to inset. And of course, inset's going to be feisty. Inset's like, bro, what is this mesh? In fact, let's force inset to work, because that's my life. My life is forcing inset to work. You know, inset no worky. I'll go in and make it work. I was about to keep that on, but it probably sound racist. Right now, emotions are high in the nation, so can't even be insensitive about such a thing, because such ugliness is unpleasant to see. It actually is so it corrects itself of such ill tempers to see it exhibited publicly. It's like, wow, I should try to be a more caring, sympathetic person. It's like, you know, it's the same with the stock market, right? They say when a go one way, you go another. Matt Berry was saying for us to sell everything in 2021. 2023 is 40% higher than ever. So, you know, should you have say that today, it'll crash tomorrow. Especially with the way that China's messing with us. So, you just never know anymore. Such volatile times that we live in. Also, I did not mean to do this to this area, but we can make it work. And let's check for holes. These are where the holes are. Let's put an underscore just so we don't move this modifier at all. In fact, I'm going to apply it just so you know. This is an entirely manifold mesh. When I select everything and I press Shift tilde, like right here, I have select loops, boundary loop map to Shift tilde. Like I right clicked it and I mapped it to Shift tilde and then saved my preferences. So when I select everything and I press Shift tilde, I'm basically checking this for holes. Like, and that's the level 1 of inset checking. Like if I do that, inset should have no issue whatsoever. And then there's the modifiers, you know, depending on where it places the modifiers, how it reorders them, that's the next question. But right here, the question is, why is this not working? Why would this not work? Let's Alt E, let's press I, let's press T, and it looks like inset only goes that far. You know what? I'll take it. And let's also use ngon and just cut this part off, just really flatten that. From here, you know, there's really not any guidance here, so that means they want me, that means that if I may be either sacrilegious or humorous, the voice of God tells me to extrude double circles into this now code 34866. No, I'm kidding, but let's Control M X, X, Y, Y, Z, Z, okay, Z, Z, and G, C, Z, G, Z, Z, alright, and we get something like that. I just want to flip it around the other way. It just looks cooler flipped around than it did the initial way that we were going to have it. And what else do we want to do? This line could be rounded. You know, assuming we're going to solve this, right? We have to make the part, explore it, and then we have to solve it. So really quite the exercise to start off today. Alright, and we just slide and correct this. And you know, I got silent, but what I'm thinking about is how there were these Blender user groups, right? And you know, like I said, I was watching that guy talk about this Magic Gathering community dying out, and you know, in the Blender community we had these Blender user groups, and I was going to them and I'd stopped, and you know, we're looking at a society where people are deprived of interpersonal interaction, and that was Blender solving a problem that was going to come up in the future before it ever even became a thing. So you know, really they need to come back. You know, Blender user group would be cool. However, it'd have to be like thought out, right? Like we'd have to all hang out, do something fun, you know, have a nice result, you know, not get serial killed on the lake, which is a thing here. There's this lake that I always try to go to, and there's like an inordinate amount of people getting killed at it. They just keep killing people at this lake that I try to go and hike around, but I can't hike around it because people just keep dying there. So it's just safer for me to just stick to my own neighborhood. And if we bring up inset is having a hard time. You know, we're lucky to have survived this because based off of the initial mesh, it was a heck of a mesh. So let's try cleaning the mesh. And cleaning the mesh will give us something that's more manageable. Look at this. That's what we had before. We are going to just go in and clean the mesh. So, you know, just because inset worked out doesn't mean that it was working out. In fact, I would say that it was barely hanging on to life. So, not the best showing, but let's Control A, apply all of that. So now this is the geo again, and everything's real still with MX2. What's real and what's just an instance? Find out today. Maybe it's all just cake. Just kidding. I was thinking about promotions and stuff in my head. I don't even know what I'm doing here. Probably not. I mean, what is going on there? Who knows? I mean, and that was the thing about this image. It's like, I would just look at it, I'm just like, oh, okay, so there's a part there. I'm just going to just make it up, I guess. Alright, I thought there was unapplied scale. Alright, let's try that again. Nope. Why was it weird? We'll never know, but were I the apprehensive type, I would be getting in there and finding out. Alright, so what we'll do is shift this to live, grab this, and just bring it in, extrude it back, but maybe not too far because looks like there's only so far we're able to take this. So just really restyling things here. Like I said, under the pressure of having to think on my own, it's the ultimate puzzle game. It's the ultimate puzzle game. And right when I was enjoying it the most, I experienced that processor situation. But now that I'm back, actually, let us take this and hit with a flat. So we can just scale this in edit mode. Let's also alright, that is not a straight shape. Let's grab this circle and we will just solidify it, but we'll slide it up one so that way it receives the right modifier. SX0. Alright, something like that. And for this one, SX0. That one's real. This one, it doesn't even matter for this because this is just a placeholder. We'll replace it with one of our random cylinder pieces. You know, I just realized on the round element that we basically, I basically went through and modeled and solved like 20 solenoids or 5 solenoids or however many I did. But that's what solenoids are for. Solenoids are robot parts. Like for this greeble, that's just like, what do you put here? I don't know. I have zero idea. You know, you just put freaking knickknacks and I was gonna say greeble and nurnies. I don't even know if those are the right words, but probably are. Let's apply. And we just want to do a little more with the back areas because I feel like I've been lacking on them and I can't let that be a repeating, continuing pattern. In fact, part of my New Year's resolution is to care more about the back areas. So we will see. I will try my best, which is the only assurance I'm able to give people. My best will be tried. And probably fell. But continuing on, so far we are looking at this as our part. In fact, this thing to me now is looking a little too long. So let's scroll it. This is our hole. Alright, I can work with that. Let us grab all of this geometry. Just bring it up. Oh, this area is short to me. And that one's fine, but I believe we had a different one as well. Actually, this one in the back is no longer fine. So let's ever scroll, but this time I'm just going to use the control click to bring it back via the hopscott integration into Everscroll. And let's bring this up. And then bring it down. So with something like that, everything is looking good. In fact, we can bring this part up. However, every time I just randomly move parts, something with the parenting is always off, be it me using a modifier I just didn't account for, not having parental capabilities built into it yet, or whatever the case is, but I hate it when that happens. So here we are so far. In fact, we're looking good. We're looking like we're about to put on some arms and just go punching some folks. So we're still on the block-in phase of this. And, you know, we do want to throw in some pistons. I mean, also want to take parts for the previous stuff and start integrating it in, but I didn't want to start rehashing myself immediately because I would just start doing that and just pulling that trap card out. So now we look at this part, and I mean, you know, what shape is this? What shape is that? That's literally what I was asking myself whenever my computer was down. You know, I just have all these books just sitting open. Like I have this one, Elysium P. Like I also said, I was reviewing the Cyberpunk art book, which, you know, I realized that Cyberpunk didn't get a fair enough shake by me and requires a really deep revisit And so I plan to do that. I plan to revisit it full, go over cars and just the universe, because it was like the richest universe, and to just shortchange it as, you know, origin to geometry here. And then we select these and we say, hey, place that there. Probably would have been easier if I had a grid placed there, but let's place our element. And you know, it's like such a hard elbow, which I love that about it. It's like this DARPA elbow. But the purpose of studying art books, for me at least, is to assimilate things into my style. I mean, whenever I'm completely free of project work and obligations to customers and users, I'm further assimilating things into myself. Like, you know, maybe I truly have no sense of individualism or self-identity. So as a result, my identity is a conglomerate of everything that inspires me. Just going out on a limb here, but you know what? We're going to extrude manifold. Let's bisect modifier. So everything I'm studying, I'm just trying to become more rich and diverse myself. So, you know, we're in an age now where, you know, people don't want to read books anymore, and just education is just one of those things that's secondary. And you know, this should slide, but it's sliding in an unusual way. You know what? We'll move it on to Y, X, wait, G, Shift C, G, X, Shift Y. That's where we want to move it. And it looks like that actually worked out. I know this is just a really weird way to do like a large inset. I mean, I'm always just experimenting with different ways of modeling, and that's just me. You'll be like, why are you not using this tool, or are you not using that tool? You know, and I don't know. I don't even want to know what, I don't even want to put a term to it, but you know, I find myself putting myself in user situations where, you know, when someone expresses a struggle, I try to experience that struggle to try to figure out how to mitigate it and, you know, turn it into less of a concern, and you know, furthers a product, turn it into a product to resolve any issues that people have. And I think it's a good way to work. However, when you're looking for problems, boy, do they find you. And also, there's no end to the amount of problems that you'll find or will find you. You'll just be inundated by endless problems. So welcome to the world of problem solving. So I'm going to put a sharpen on this. I mean, an auto smooth, sorry. When it comes to sharpen, you know, sharpen was such a prolific thing years ago, you know, when marking was very crucial. But now, as you can probably see in my work, I mark like a temporary type measure. Like, marking is one of those things I do for just like moments at a time. I'm still not entirely pleased or even sure what the hell shape I am looking at here, but I probably should have took a picture of this book before. Like, literally, I kept turning on my lamp and looking down at this book like it was like an old document. Like, I felt like I was reviewing the Declaration of Independence, the original version. The version I wouldn't ever have, might I add. But while we're talking about the Declaration of Independence, I got a chance to watch Franklin on Apple TV not too long ago, and that was with Michael Douglas playing Franklin, and it's actually a really good watch. Like, I enjoyed the show. I mean, is it a rewatch out of 10? Is any historical thing that further illuminates our forefathers in an unflattering way. Something worth a rewatch ever. It sure isn't. Hardly ever. They sure keep doing that with TV shows. Just, you know, I now I gotta go watch the Lincoln movie, right? Because that's the next historical epic of our nation. Let's Alt jump over to nSolve, and let's also back up from that move. Let's try that again. And does that hold together? For now. Alright, so because I have a bisect mirror, bisect mirrors need to just have an option to automatically be prefixed, more than likely. I mean, I don't try to throw out the first iteration of an idea. Like, I try to cook it in my head and on paper just through like deep testing. So, you know, sometimes a user will throw me an idea and it might seem like I'm not very into it, but really an idea for me proves its validity through like mental examination, through like personal exploration of the idea, because you know you could save work, and that work and effort also save stress. Like, there's nothing that a coder hates than seeing someone be flip-floppy on a feature that they're actively coding. You know, you're sitting there saying, oh, I want this. Well, actually, I don't want this. You know, that's like a revision in the art game. And so, you know, that's a type of hell. And we don't want to put people through hell, do we? But that's also what will happen if you propose a bad idea, have it executed, it turns out to be wrong. Then you have to talk about, you know, how is the removal going to be done for this. So let's come out of local mode, just kind of check out what we're looking at so far. So I think we can scale this thing up. I want to set its origin. Let's take it into local mode. And what I want to do is set its origin based off of here. To here. And let's just press F for the median of that. And we want to press R to set just the location. So now what that means is we can rotate it there, and we're also able to scale it from there. So we just want to scale it up a little bit just because it has mighty lower arms for grabbing and strangling humans, you know, in this universe. When I don't know if I can use the word uppity, you know, because of the rise of cruel rhetoric in the country. You know, I don't want to foment that, but if we have our mesh getting unruly, we do have to get it under control. Alright, I don't know what I'm seeing there. I just see like shapes haunting me. In fact, I even want to bring this part all the way in, just because I don't know if I liked it sticking out like it was, but you know, something like that, probably a lot cooler. I was going to put a wedge there, but I do not see a wedge. I gotta stop adding shapes I don't see. Gotta stop adding shapes I don't, yeah, gotta add one shape, even though I don't see it. So, you know, we were playing with the Ingon line today. Feature of the day, right? Which I should start doing now, just talking about a random feature every day. But for this one, we want to be more accurate than that. I want it to actually fit that region. So let's extract that face, take it into edit mode, we'll inset it, and then we'll grab that inset, delete everything that isn't that inset, till we get something like so. and let us solidify. It looked a little strange from the angle that we had it at, but we're going to make this work. Let's union it together with an exact, and we could probably do the same up in that area, but you know, let's not go overboard here. So now from here, we want to do something there, but what? So in my brain, it's just circles. Life is just circles of different scales, of course. Don't want to be insensitive. And resolutions, you know. Alright, and since everything is unclear, there's a feature we are working on in Boxcutter right now. It's going to come out in the next micro update, meaning probably in the next few days, where we are going to be adding something called a low bevel, or not a low bevel, we're going to be adding a threshold to the bevel, so that way users will be able to say, hey, don't let polygon get beveled if it's under this many segments or over this many segments. You know, just a little bit of a conditional there on the segments. Nothing too complex or robust, but just enough to just make life better if you're using Boxcutter. You know, I'm always writing down suggestions. However, I do have to be strategic in how I request them because of history and lore and previous rules and etc. So, you know, despite me always wanting changes, I also have to request them smartly. So, but I'm always thinking about it. In fact, I have a saying, you know, not a day goes by where I'm not using or thinking about these tools. You know, and I refer to that as, you know, serving the shrine, you know, the shrine of hops. We must be there. And a couple of these will go a ways towards just giving us some detail, even though I'm probably going to cover this up. Also, could you imagine solving this? Just running all the way down this, solving every single component. What a nightmare it will be, a nightmare. Oh, what a nightmare. Just kidding. So let's bring back this piece, and I'm going to shift click on Shade Solid and get an error because of something going on with Blender. So I'm just going to Shift D, move this over into the sidearm collection, and we will just shade it solid normally, and we see that that's also giving us an issue. So we want to just turn off shade solid. In fact, I could have sworn we used to have an option for it there, but it looks like we'll just have to go under the visibility, and that's just one of the things when it comes to using cutting edges. You're just subject to some of the random changes that can possibly happen. Not the worst thing, but you know, whenever and that's just showing the amount of work that you have to go through to deal with it manually. It's not a big deal, but as time goes on, you get older and older, you definitely start dreading doing certain actions. So, like for example, this piece, right? I want that, but I don't want to do the whole thing I did to that. So I'm just going to take this, join it to this, and then just flip the normals, recalculate them correctly, take this, separate it, origin to geometry, not that one, origin to geometry. And why is the bevel not working? Is it because our order? No. Oh, vertex group. So assign to active group, and we're good to go. Except we're not. So we do want to take this group, we take that and just remove from active group. In fact, how are we doing this? We're taking this. No, we're taking this and we're assigning that to the active group. You know what? Let's just remove the bevel. and we'll put our own bevel. And let's just adjust the angle. There we go. I don't know what was happening there, but sorry about that. So we have to put a hen here now. And also, I just really see like an opportunity in here. If we shift V, we can change this to nearest edge, which will allow us to orient this to the nearest edge in this location, which is that one. All right, and let's try just we're just bringing just a random shape just to have. Oh, you know, I don't see it. I just don't see that shape. I gotta stop. Not that I'm trying to adhere to the ref that heavily, but you gotta draw a line. So I am trying to bring back this cutter because this area is not even completely clear. So let's just have some fun with it. So, you know, connect up a boolean. Moving along. In fact, I still feel that this piece is significantly larger, like something like that. But if it's that large, that also means that this piece is like too large. So let's take it on an exploration. I'm gonna shift click smart apply, which means I can move this over to junk, which means I probably am not going. Let them know I won't be bought, basically. So this whole element, I want to grow it out, isolate it, look at it in this mode, and we are just going to recheck the line. And with a bevel, we can grab this element and just bring that in. And something like that, just to maybe give it a slightly more rational look. And let us hello everyone, I am back again, and back to work I go. So picking up from where we left off, this side of the robot hand, we have a few issues where we lost a part that was supposed to be right here, filling in the hole, or maybe it never even existed. In any case, let's press Q, and we'll ever scroll to bring that back, and it looks like we actually applied that at some point. So let's scroll to bring it back over on this shape, and it's the same story. So what I'm going to do is, I guess, just jump over to circle, and we'll just jump off of this point and just create a new circle here, and that's all there is to it. So we'll bevel that one segment, we'll set one side to be flat. We'll come back later for something detailed, but for now that will suffice. So, and it looks like the piece that's missing is actually right here, so I don't even know who it belongs to anymore. So instead, we will just give it to this area, like so. And that will do. This piece has grown, as they say, too big for its britches, so we will need to mirror this across itself with respect to the x-axis. Looking at this piece belonged to someone, but it doesn't anymore, so we'll just send it over to junk. Sometimes when you start parenting and dealing with scales, things can just get a little wayward, but you know, this little arm, this piece up top is one that, you know, I'm curious in, because, you know, when you look at it, it's like, what is this part? You know, these are just smudges made by a guy, right? However, I love being the guy who agonizes over it. Like as a modeler, you know, I'll tell you one thing about AI is definitely made me really reflective over what it is that I enjoy personally about modeling.
because, you know, those are the things I'm like, oh, I hope they don't take that away from me. Of course, AI is fated to take everything away from all of us, but that's just the inherent nature of the machine, right? The machine's purpose is to automate. So, you know, anything it leaves behind makes it a terrible machine. So we'll scroll that bevel up to the top. Now that we have that in place, we can start just terminating to make things fit. And, you know, looking at it, it's just such a hard shape to even kind of understand. I mean, I guess I'll add a 16er in there. And, you know, one thing I haven't done ever in Boxcutter history is use an oblong circle like you see there. I almost want to put some sort of divot in it, but I don't see a divot taking place. So it'd be me just hallucinating shapes that aren't actually there. So we're trying to wrap this up. We're not trying to extend this indefinitely, which that's my favorite thing with modeling, is that you can just model forever, you know, over and over, just iterate over and over forever, trying to get it to be more perfect. So it's perfect for someone like me, a guy who's pursuing an elusive perfection that is completely unobtainable, a form of perfection literally constructed out of unobtainium metal. You know, that stuff that the blue people are dying for on Avatar. That's what my dreams are made out of, unobtainium. Second movie looked very nice. I could not get over how the water looked in the second Avatar movie. But yeah, I was driving earlier and I was thinking, you know, a live experience could probably work. It could probably work. You know, it's just there's so many brain-like things that happen now in order to get in the way. You know, it's a art in itself just to, you know, harass. You know, there's people out there that are trying to do desperately because, you know, life's a burning and we only have so much time left on this earth. And then there's those who just want to see, you know, failure and destitution and cause ruin. And not saying that either party's wrong, but it is the state of the world. So I'm going to put a line there, which means I'm going to slide this over like so, just guiding that. By guiding it means I can grab this, control click bevel, and we see that now the bevel is a lot more forgiving than what I was looking at just a second ago. So, you know, we're just messing around. I mean, the part that we're messing with isn't even going to be visible. So it's like, what are we even doing? What are we doing, guys? Is the question here. So with some of the parts that we made here that worked out, like this piece, right? Let's Alt P, clear parent, and keep transformation. And what is this thing mapped across? We don't know. We're just going to remove the mirror just because we don't even want to find out the answers to these questions that we ask. They're hypothetical. So let's see, R, Shift R to repeat that. And we could probably place this piece somewhere like so. And we're just trying to make it work as far as articulation is concerned. Like I said, I'm no robotics expert, but I do see that I could do some improvements in this respect and maybe even make a public adventure out of it in the form of content. Hopefully, unless I get too much rain, and then I gotta go inside. So let us mirror this across. Let's duplicate this, S, Shift, X. And let's also mirror this across itself, something like that. And I think that will at least improve our stake when it comes to this particular area. You know, we could also just terminate this as well. You know, just really trying to make this work no matter what. In fact, let's control click mark. or something like that. And so far, so good. I do not regret it as of this moment, but the day is still early, so let's snap our cursor there. We'll use that cursor as our 3D pivot, and we're just rotating a piece on the inside to fit this area. You know, just kind of came up as a sudden spur of the moment sort of thing. But you know, when I was on the way home from lunch a moment ago, I came across some construction equipment, and besides the obligatory thoughts of, well, I'll be working construction soon enough, were the thoughts of, wow, if I wasn't driving, I should photograph this equipment and use it in the work that I'm doing right now. In fact, reality is so desperate that we need to just start stealing from every piece of reality available to us, because it's the only way to survive now. Like, now is the age of desperation. So let's clean the mesh. Let us control click mark. Nice little bevel in there. Yeah, how snug do I want that part to be? You know, we're just still on the blocking phase, just having fun and looking at it. And this shape on the side, I really wanted it to work out, but it didn't work out. It was a let's try that again. Let's GG, and then we'll hold Alt and slide this one this way. We'll GG, slide it this way, then hold Alt and slide it the opposite way. And we're just seeing what can be done here instead of going for something predictable, because you know we're on our own when it comes to the decision making for this particular area. In fact, merge that at last, so we get something like that, and then we can bevel it. So maybe something like that will do, at least for now. And then we can do the same thing on the inside. Just looking at the shape and just trying to extrapolate ideas from it. I mean, not the best ideas, but you know, what can we do? Well, we don't want to do nothing, that's for sure. So maybe something like that. Let's pull back and just kind of orbit this thing. So, you know, once I'm moving around the view like this, I'm using a completely different peripheral. Like, sometimes I'm using my mouse, sometimes I'm reaching for this. So I actually like what happened with the hand. Another thing too is a little hydraulics wouldn't hurt, just to get them involved. Like, I almost want to have something here that just kind of redirects on the inside, but let's just proceed with what we have going on here. So just analyzing the front, wondering if I should do a reverse bevel to just kind of eat that and create something more visual for whenever we refine it. But I think what we have here will certainly do. Let's look at this from top view, and I am going to just so it almost clipped through, except for not clipping all the way through, which is a common thing that happens when you're dealing with Blender and booleans and everything that we are. And in our case, we actually cut at an angle, so that was why it didn't work out for us. So it wasn't even anything related to Blender, it was our own stupidity. So let us just deal with that. And maybe something like that. We come back out, and this would be just too easy of a solve. That's all I'm thinking, is that it's too easy. I'll spend time later thinking, why did I have such easy time? Why didn't I challenge myself? Why didn't I up the ante, as they would say? And let's bring it down. Maybe something like so. Let's ask Shift Y. And I think that will definitely work. And I can't help but sit here pondering world events, right? In fact, the world event I ponder now is how, the world's richest man changed his name yesterday and immediately changed it back. The implications of that, because reading the comment history on the site that inspired it showed that wasn't very favorable to such a decision. But world events, right? So I'm gonna S Shift Y. I try and become a social commentator, but you just can't help it. The older you get, the more interesting the world looks. Right, we'll just push that out even more, just so we have a little more leverage to mess with. Still just goofing off with this. I mean, I don't have any idea what I'm doing, but I see that I have a little bit of leeway to just do whatever I want, so why not? Always jumping over to render just because of the Z key. Still just thinking out loud. I mean, feeling cute, might delete it all later. I don't know, I kind of like it now. But yeah, it'd be crazy if the site 4chan got purchased, because the site has no value. It can't be turned into a profit, so all you can do is buy it and shut it down, which would be an interesting move. I mean, every year has such curious things happening, so that would definitely be a curious thing for this year. All right, looking, and something, I think we are ready to go for. So let's just take a look at what we have here. Like I always say, it's so difficult to commit and move forward on a part. In fact, looking at this, I'm thinking that a reduction can happen here, allowing me to bring this piece in. So let's go over here, and what I'm saying is these pieces perhaps don't need to exist anymore. So I'm going to move them to junk. But that means very big things. For example, we snap our cursor here. And I mean, this isn't supposed to make sense. I'm just having fun here. I'm just trying to just make it work. Make it work. All these circles do not make a square. Don't tell Mr. Popo I said that. So maybe something like that, and then we got like this kind of butterfly happening. So we could probably get rid of one of them. This one's going to need to come up here and just scale and to fit. This object cannot be moved. Because it cannot be moved, that means we need to go in and hit it with a late parent. And now we can move it. It's either a late parent or uniquify. Uniquify is like kind of hitting it with a hammer because it'll make every cutter unique and free the object from having constraint requirements connected to other objects. So we want to clear parent but keep transformation. And we want to grab all of this and just bring it over. And so for this one, I'm just playing around with shape scales. Still no clear plan of what I'm doing here. Just trying to just resolve this so I survive, because one robot arm down, 500 more to discuss. So we do not want the mirror affecting this anymore. And I want this circle really to tell me the integrity of the other circle that's here. Because if the mirror's clamping down on it unfairly, that's not going to be good for anyone. Let's apply our scale. And we just map that to flat. So we're looking at something like that so far. I mean, we can, of course, bring something down to the middle to meet it, but I'm just thinking about how this whole thing is going to even work. I probably need at least one piston in there, but you know, the goal was really to just bring this thing in, and that is the goal. So agonizing over the intricacies can come later. So this is what we're looking at now. So now with this one, if we place our 3D cursor right here, then we can actually rotate this inwards like so. So we have one that's sticking out, but we have another one that's actually inwards, giving us a kind of more action-oriented look at this thing instead of it just being so boring and static. But I like what I'm seeing here so far. So we are still just kind of going through a confirmation process of sorts. These two parts are to be connected, so that's why I'm not really emphasizing it too much, but what I'm seeing here. And we come down to the hen, where if this is applied, that means we can select this vert and this vert and press J to place a point in between. And by having a point in between, we can jump off of it with make, press bevel, and give ourselves a low count. In fact, for Boxcutter, I'm going to uncheck auto smooth. Just because I like working without it, and it looks like we don't have auto smooth on for now, which makes it more of an anomaly that make is being affected. So definitely something that I'll be having to discuss off camera. But like I said, monkey paw clause always applies, right? I gotta always contemplate that I'm not monkey pawing myself by asking for something that goes against something else that I've already asked for based on something that a user requested. It just gets so exponentially insane managing everything, because you know, eventually people start requesting things against other things that people have requested. So then where does it end? Where does it end? All right, so I want this to be symmetrical with this piece, like so. And then with that, we can actually make that work. Like we could put hydraulics in between and get really intricate with this hand, so that way we can really zoom in on it. Like, and that's if we're really trying to just go ham right. But that's where the next level of kit bashing would take place, right? We got to really think about how much detail we're trying to put in on this thing. I mean, we're already getting pretty heavy with the geometry, but it really doesn't matter because subdivision can just be toggled off on an entire scene level if needed. But I like what we're looking at so far. So in the next section, we'll be going through and dealing with the solving of this.